I'm corn. I feed more people on this planet than almost any other crop. Yet I'm also one of the most misunderstood foods in modern nutrition. Some people say I'm a healthy whole grain packed with nutrients. Others claim I'm nothing more than sugar and starch. The truth is somewhere in the middle, and it's much more interesting than either extreme. Corn is the most widely grown crop in the United States. Every year, farmers plant more than 90 million acres of corn. That's more than double the acreage of soybeans, the country's second largest crop. But here's something most people don't realize. The corn you eat on the dinner table is not the same corn that's used to feed livestock, produce ethanol, or make many processed food ingredients. In fact, the sweet corn sold in grocery stores represents only a tiny fraction of all the corn grown in America. Understanding this difference is the key to understanding corn's real nutritional value. Let's start with the two main types of corn. Sweet corn is harvested while the kernels are still young and naturally sweet. That's the corn you enjoy on the cob, in salads, soups, and frozen vegetable mixes. Field corn, sometimes called dent corn, is left to mature until it becomes dry and starchy. This type is mainly used for animal feed, ethanol fuel, cornmeal, tortillas, breakfast cereals, corn syrup, and many processed foods. Although both come from the same plant family, their nutritional profiles are quite different. Now let's talk about sweet corn. 1 cup contains around 125 calories. It also provides about 5 grams of protein and roughly 3 grams of dietary fiber. Sweet corn is rich in several important B vitamins, especially thiamine and folate. It also contains vitamin C, magnesium, and potassium. One of its biggest nutritional advantages is that it contains 2 powerful carotenoids called lutein and zeaxanthin. These natural pigments accumulate in the retina of your eyes and have been linked to long-term eye health. This is one of the best established health benefits of sweet corn. Now let's address one of the biggest concerns: sugar. Many people believe corn contains huge amounts of sugar. The reality is much different. A typical ear of sweet corn contains only around 6 grams of natural sugar. That's far less than many fruits and many processed snacks. More importantly, sweet corn also contains fiber. The fiber slows digestion and helps reduce rapid spikes in blood sugar. Because of this, fresh sweet corn has a moderate glycemic load rather than an extremely high one. The real concern isn't fresh corn. It's processed corn products like high-fructose corn syrup, sugary drinks, refined corn snacks, and heavily processed foods. These products behave very differently inside the body than whole sweet corn. Fiber is another reason corn deserves more credit. When eaten in its natural form, corn is considered a whole grain. Its fiber supports healthy digestion and helps maintain regular bowel movements. Some of the fiber also feeds beneficial bacteria living in your gut. Although corn's fiber isn't quite as effective as the fiber found in some vegetables and legumes, it still contributes to overall digestive health. Now let's talk about protein. Corn does contain protein, but there's an important detail. Its protein is considered incomplete because it's naturally low in one essential amino acid called lysine. That doesn't mean corn is a poor food. It simply means it works best when combined with other plant foods. Traditional cultures figured this out centuries ago. Meals that combine corn with beans create a complete protein because beans are naturally rich in lysine. Together, these two foods provide all the essential amino acids your body needs. Now let's discuss one of the most controversial topics surrounding corn: genetically modified crops. Most of the field corn grown in the United States is genetically modified. However, sweet corn is much less likely to be genetically modified than people often assume. Many sweet corn varieties are still grown using conventional breeding methods. If avoiding genetically modified foods is important to you, choosing organic sweet corn is one reliable option because organic farming standards do not allow genetically modified crops. So what does the scientific evidence actually tell us? Fresh sweet corn is a nutritious whole food. It provides meaningful amounts of fiber, protein, vitamins, minerals, and eye-protecting antioxidants. Yes, it contains more calories than leafy vegetables, but those calories come packaged with nutrients that support overall health. The link between corn and obesity mostly comes from processed foods made from corn, not fresh corn itself. Corn syrup, refined corn oils, sugary beverages, and processed snack foods are very different from eating a fresh ear of sweet corn. Let's clear up a few common myths. Myth number 1. Corn is just sugar with no nutrition. False. Sweet corn provides protein, fiber, B vitamins, magnesium, potassium, and antioxidants that support eye health. Myth number 2. All corn is genetically modified. That's not true. Most genetically modified corn is field corn. Fresh sweet corn is much less likely to be GMO. Myth number 3. Corn makes you gain weight. Not by itself. Fresh corn is simply a moderate calorie whole food. Weight gain depends on your total calorie intake and overall eating habits, not on one vegetable alone. Myth number 4. Corn is a vegetable, not a grain. Interestingly, both statements are correct. Botanically, corn is a grain because it's the seed of a grass plant. But nutritionally, sweet corn is commonly eaten as a vegetable. So depending on the context, both classifications are accurate. Before we finish, here are a few practical tips. Choose corn with bright green husks and fresh, moist silk. Dry, brown silk usually means the corn is older. Leave the husk on until you're ready to cook because it helps keep the kernels fresh. Try grilling, steaming, or boiling corn instead of covering it with large amounts of butter and salt. Pair corn with beans whenever possible to create a complete plant-based protein. Frozen sweet corn is also an excellent choice because it's usually frozen shortly after harvest and retains most of its nutrients. Finally, if your goal is better health, focus on fresh or frozen corn instead of processed corn products like chips, sugary cereals, and corn syrup. So corn really does help feed the world. But the corn that feeds people is very different from the corn that feeds factories and industry. Fresh sweet corn is a nutritious whole food that deserves a place in a balanced diet. Just don't confuse it with the highly processed corn products that dominate supermarket shelves. That wraps up this batch of Veggie Files. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode where we'll uncover the science behind another everyday food.